Hello, and welcome to Games You'll Soon Play. My name's Liam Gallagher. On this most fourth episode of Games You'll Soon Play, I interviewed Dan Forero, designer on Rat Killer, an asymmetric real-time strategy game where rats attempt to escape the lab of an evil scientist who has genetically modified guns onto their backs. We talk about the game development and his biography. Dan joins me now. I have with me on the line Dan Forero, a developer working with Brwarner Studios in the Western Canadian division of the group. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm really good. So we're here today to talk about a few things. One is to introduce you to the world at large as a coder on this fine, intrepid team of young game designers and enthusiasts. And the other is to talk about the successes of the recent playtest of the RAT real-time strategy project. But before we get into the details of that game, why don't you tell us a little bit about your history and really what brought you onto this project?
Sure. I was originally from Venezuela. Moved up in Canada a while back, maybe 14 years ago now. And I'm a self-taught developer for the most part. I've been developing since I was about 9 years old. And the reason I started learning how to code was because of games. So, it's no surprise that I'm here coding still, working on games in specific. But yeah, I'm a software engineering technology student from Conestoga College in Kitchener-Waterloo area. And I met Brooke, the founder of Brwarner Studios, during a co-op term at EA here in Vancouver. So I met him, and we got together and with a couple other guys, and we decided to do this Loot 'em Dare challenge that is basically where this rat game came to fruition.
It's funny that you call it Brwarner Studios, because I know that's the right way to say it, but I've always just called it Brwarner, just because, I don't know, I like how awkward that is to say.
Yeah, I would probably stumble on that one a couple times.
Yeah, but I guess that's just my counterintuitive nature. So it's interesting that because my interest in video games and video game development started much the same way that you described. But it's interesting the different paths that we took, because I'm involved in mostly the auditory end of these things, writing music and sound effects. I remember wanting to be the sound that was in the games. So it's neat to talk to somebody whose direction was wanting to be the code of the game.
Yeah, and knowing what you want to do from such a young age, it really helps you define yourself early on and strive towards those goals. And I think you and I have both done that.
Yeah, well, let's hope that it pays out for us. I know I'm certainly excited about the RAT project. I had an opportunity to play test it a bit myself and some earlier editions, and I'm doing the soundtrack, the very limited amount of music that there's going to be for the game. So I've been excited to see it. But before we get into those tantalizing details about it, want to tell me a little bit about your work at EA?
Yeah, sure. So I am currently working on FIFA 16. Which is set to release in September 26th, I believe. And I'm just working there as a co-op student, so I get lots of different things to work on. So unfortunately, I can't go into too much detail about what some of those things are, but I've been doing a lot of front-end work, making things better for the user, really, on the front end, as well as some back-end work for writing some algorithms and things like that. But yeah, I'm been doing that, and it's been absolutely wonderful. It's been a great experience. But I still think I have that desire in me to have absolute freedom, and you get that from indie games, right? And being part of an indie team is a great outlet for me to get. There's coding at work, and then there's coding on my indie project, and they're two totally different things. But I really enjoy coding in general, so. You can say my day is pretty fun. So, as long as there's coding in my day, I'm a happy guy.
It's amazing how when you're working on a small team, how many odd jobs that you end up having to take on simply because there isn't anyone else to do them.
Yeah, I had to do some artwork for our game, and I am not an artist at all. I mean, I just visual arts is not my thing. But surprisingly enough, I didn't do too bad of a job, and I think that my art's still in the game right now, and I don't know if it'll stay there, but it looks pretty good for me, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Well, even if it doesn't make it into the final product, you got to at least demand a concept art credit.
Yeah, there you go.
So in these day and age, EA has a pretty bad reputation amongst consumers. We're not going to get into like a criticism of their output, but can you talk to some of the realities of working with EA? I know that there's a lot of legends out there, but on your day to day, like how do you find working for, quite frankly, one of the biggest publishers in games?
EA is an absolutely awesome place to work. I know there was a lot of controversy before with EA. I think that was mostly EA in Red Shore Studio, like in the States. But here in Vancouver, well, Burnaby really, every day I enjoy going to work and I enjoy the people I work with, and everyone is super nice, super helpful, and the campus itself is huge. There's a lot of great amenities. I just got new glasses thanks to the benefits I get from EA. So I don't have really anything to complain about, and it's funny because we have one-on-ones with my manager, and they're always looking for constructive criticism that I can bring to the team, but I really can't because it's a wonderful group of guys, and the work is great, and that it does get a little stressful sometimes, and a little bit of overtime and working really hard to kind of finalize the game before ship. But that's just kind of the nature of console games in general. So that's just something you take on when you take a job like that. But no, I really can't say anything negative about it. It's actually a wonderful place to work.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're getting such great experience. So let's talk about how you're putting some of that experience to use with other Brwarner games. I understand that. What's the code name of this project?
There's many. I think the one we mostly go for is Rat Killer. But there's Rat Killer, there's Rats, there's RTS Rats, which didn't really take. I would probably go with. Yeah. I think we all call it Rat. I think we've established Rat Killer as the code name.
So let's give me an overview of the game. So I'm a player. I've just booted up Rat Killer, and I'm really looking forward to killing some rats. What do I see?
Well, what you see is you see a menu screen that allows you to either host a server or join an existing server. And the great part of those games is that you're able to play with anybody wherever they may be. So the idea is that kind of an overview of the game. The idea is that one player is the RTS guy. So we don't really know what he is yet. All we know is he controls, from an RTS perspective, a couple of units that he can move around. And his job is to defend checkpoints from the rats using his units. So he can move them around, give them commands, and shoot in this direction, or they will automatically shoot if they see a rat nearby. So that's what the RTS player is trying to do. He's trying to defend the checkpoints from being taken by the rats. Everyone else, so it can be 1v1 or it could be 4 or 5v1. There really isn't a limit. Although we do run into some balancing issues when you get to the extremities, which we still have to work on. But everybody else that's not the RTS player controls a particular rat. And these rats are trying to work together to take these checkpoints, destroy the enemy units so that they're not fighting back and they can take some checkpoints. And they have to take a certain number of checkpoints within the map to win. And I think the most exciting part is trying to communicate with the other rats and trying to create some sort of strategy so you can outsmart the RTS player. But then again, the RTS player, if he's really good at microing, he can really, flank you and do things that the rats won't expect. So you get a lot of cool scenarios and kind of really interesting situations that make the game that much more fun.
One of the most interesting things that I found when I played the game was, especially when I played as a rat, like how much of a rat I felt like I was, in a good way and also in a bad way. So like on the plus side, I felt really sneaky. Like I felt like I was a smart, clever little creature that could scurry around and hide when need be, and pull one over on the the I don't know if the man is the right way to put it, but like I felt like I was getting away with something. But then at the other time, in the I guess in the negative side of the equation, sometimes being a rat was really frightening because I was in a world that was much larger than I was, and so one of the things. So I guess what I'm trying to say is what I found really exciting about the game is flipping back and forth between those two worlds, or at once being empowered by the rat-like nature of the character, and at the same time being threatened on account of it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the feeling we're striving towards, is really making the rats feel like the rats. So yeah, they're a lot smaller. The world around them is a lot bigger, and it the rats have a longer viewing range than the units do. So you do feel like you're more aware, you're sneakier, you can see units coming before they even see you. But you also have to be aware of the fact that you are a rat and units are dangerous. And you get the idea that, or you get the feeling that you can, like you said, scurry around and kind of hide in places. But then when you switch over to the RTS player side, you say, oh well, damn, they're rats. They're probably hiding someplace and I can't see them, right? So there's definitely pros and cons to being either, and I think having those feelings when you're playing the game is exactly what we're going for. And as long as we balance it properly, you should be able to have fun on either side.
Absolutely. Yeah, I felt that the asynchronous nature of it really gave it some legs. And I mean, like, I know I'm talking about as, somebody who's a member of this team, but really I think of myself more as like a composer who comes in after these projects are already done. We're like, I didn't make this game. But one of the things that I found really like kept me interested in the game was like, as soon as you get tired of being a rat, you can just switch into that other role. And it was like, and in the playtest that I was doing, I was playing against Brwarner, and I was like, oh, just you wait, I'm gonna get you back for all the trouble that you've caused me.
Yeah, and that's the awesome part about it, is that when you do switch roles, it feels like it's your time to take vengeance, or to come back, and if you lost as a rat, you come back as an RTS player. Now you want to win, right? You're that much more determined, and just the feelings you get as you're playing, and as you're especially when you're playing with people that and that you can share that experience with, it really does create an awesome experience overall. That is exactly what we want players to have.
Yeah, interestingly enough, like, it kind of occurs to me now that although there's like a lot of strategic depth involved in the game, given the the asymmetric nature of the play, it almost has like a party game kind of feel to it at times, where like, because there's that like hot seat, that like rotating element, that it has legs for the kind of game that you might just, you download 5 licenses of, and then you just play for an evening with your friends and see who can get the most, success in whatever role.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that whole party feel is exactly what it is that we're striving for, and it really is. It is a lot of fun to play. We find ourselves, we fix a bunch of stuff, we add a bunch of features, and then we're all super excited to play test this thing, and to play test it, balance it, and then play test it again. And I think we've spent many hours play testing this game, and it's cool because it's both, we're making sure features work, and we're finding new bugs that we get to later fix, but we also have a lot of fun playing, and I think that says a lot. I mean, I know that we are kind of biased since we are making this game, but then again, if we didn't find it fun, we wouldn't really be as involved in the creation process, and really wouldn't be striving to get this game finished, right? And I think we all have the drive to do it because we really find this game fun, and it's cool because that's something that came up at the full indie meeting that we went to last week.
Yeah, tell me about that event.
So that was cool. So we went. It was me and Emily, and she's the artist, the 3D artist on the team. And since we're the only two people left from the team in Vancouver, we went to this full indie meetup, which is basically a bunch of over 100, I think 180 people in a bar, just showing off our games, playing other people's games, drinking beer, just having a good time. And already, like, you walk in, you see all these people, all these indie developers or indie enthusiasts that are there, and you already get a feeling of community here, especially in Vancouver. I know Toronto is big on that as well, and a lot of different places. But basically, you go in, you show off your game, and we had a lot of people come up and play it, and they absolutely loved it. And it was great to see that it's not just us that think it's a good game. We're getting this feedback from people that are there to try other people's games and give honest feedbacks or criticism. And we know all of our feedback was awesome. Everyone was excited about the game and about where we could take it. And multiple people said, I can't wait to see what you guys have to show next month. It's a monthly meetup, so people come on a regular basis and they see projects kind of develop as time goes by. So they're really excited to see what we bring in June, which is awesome. It's awesome to know that we have people that are excited about our game and that are going to come back to see where we've taken it. And having them be excited about it makes us even more excited about it. So it was an awesome event. We got a lot of great feedback. There was some constructive criticism that we could put to use and say, okay, well, you know what, this is what they feel. Let's fix that. Let's change this, whatever. But overall, I think the best part about it was talking to the community and seeing how they feel and getting their feedback and playing on that feedback. And that's really, I think, what makes indie games work. It's when you are talking to the community and talking to fans and saying, hey, here's what we have. Let us know what you think. And having that kind of conversation really makes for a strong game that we're excited about. So that was our first time. I can't say we have fans yet, but we have people that are interested,
Hey,
which
I'm
is
a fan.
which is a great feeling. There you go, number one fan.
Yeah, this is the Brwarner Studios super fan, Liam Gallagher. Yeah, it's amazing how in the independent games, I guess, area of the industry, how that like community level interaction is actually meaningful. Because I mean, you can log on to FIFA 16, and I'm sure there's going to be a card trading thing, and there's going to be like some sub forums of a website where people are going to work out the best teams and strategies. But there's really something different about that street level interaction between developers and audiences as the game develops. That's kind of neat. It's almost like you guys are participating in like a community gardening project, but instead of like making rhubarb pies, you're making video games.
That's a great analogy.
Thank you. So when we spoke about the game a little bit earlier in our pre-interview chat, you said that one of the things that you wanted to have an opportunity to talk about in Rat Killer was the networking design aspect of the project.
Yeah, I think so. Networking is something that I focused on. Probably the majority of the networking code was written by me, and it's just really cool to know um, that the way we've done it is makes it for people to be able to come together. And the way we've done it now is we have a lobby scene that you go to after you join a server or you create a server. And right now it's just a chat lobby that allows you to ready up and then you go and can play. But in the future, when we have more maps or maybe different settings that we can change, or we really don't know what we're going to be able to do. But think of any other multiplayer game that has settings to change. For example, if you take Counter Strike, for example, at the end of a match, you all vote on the next map, and that's the map that gets loaded for everyone to play. So a similar kind of thing that we want to have is multiple maps and being able to have people vote on them, so that the next map you play is based on the majority vote. And not only maps, but other different settings or game modes, or even we were talking about adding classes possibly. And that, I mean, that's far down the road, but we've got this lobby scene now that is going to make it really exciting for us to throw in there different things you can change and different things, aspects about the game that we can that the players themselves can modify and then go in and have that experience, right? So I think that's probably what I'm most excited about networking wise. I mean, the rest is server hosts, clients connect, nothing special there, but the ability to have this lobby scene where we can have players decide how they want to play the game, I think is the most exciting part networking wise.
Yeah, I as a fellow creative, I always find it really exciting whenever I can put a new tool into my tool chest into my repertoire of things I can do, because it absolutely does open up opportunities to create things that weren't available to you before. And I know from my experience playtesting the game, honestly, I didn't even think about the lobby system or the hosting because it worked. It was just like I was playing any old online game, right? Like I just hit join server and the server was there, and then we started playing the video game and I was smiling.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. I'm glad it was smooth for you.
So I'm a fan. I'm thinking about trying to track down a copy of this Rat Killer game. How do I do that? What's the timeline going to be like? When do I get to play this? And in the meantime, if it's not quite done and it's going to be play tested elsewhere in the world, how do I figure out how to get involved with that?
Well, we'll for sure continue to do the. It's hard to say when people are going to be able to download this on, a fully, the fully functional game. There's still a lot of work left to be done. But we're definitely going to continue to go to the full indie meetups and have that there for people to play test there. And we're also thinking about having some of the guys that are in Waterloo go up to Toronto for their meetup and have a similar showcase so that we can get people excited about playing the game early on. I can't say when this game will be released, but I can say that people are already excited about it, and I think interacting with the community is the best thing we can do, and going to these meetups is the way to do it. And I think that if you want to play the game, you need to be right now either in Vancouver or Toronto or anywhere nearby. But as we get the game more polished and feel maybe a little more comfortable releasing it to the public online for a beta or even alpha, you'll definitely hear about that when that happens.
Fantastic. Well, Dan, unless there's any 2 more cents or a plug that you want to get in, I think we're going to wrap this interview up.
Yeah, no, it's good. We're excited about it, and you should expect a fun game coming out of this. That's pretty much, I can say that with great confidence.
I'm going to hold you to that, Dan.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Well, this has been Liam Gallagher interviewing Dan Forero on the Rat Killer real-time strategy hybrid top-down shooter game coming from Brwarner Studios. Thanks for listening to Games You'll Soon Play. All the music you've heard in today's program is composed by me for the game Sunshine, coming from Brwarner Studios in the future. You can find Rat Killer on the web at ratkillerthegame.weebly.com, and they tweet at ratkillergame. I tweet at LiamG257, Roman numeral 2, Roman numeral 5, Arabic 7. And of course you can find me on the web at theliamgallagher.com. Stay tuned to Games You'll Soon Play for more interesting information about upcoming games. As always, I have been your host, Liam Gallagher. Thanks so much for being a wonderful and gracious audience.